So welcome back and Happy New Year. Already 1 year passed since we last met. So how did you spend the New Year? Did you do anything special on the New Year's Eve? Anybody? Kenang mebe. Ti pyoge tsangma shivju kyun suda. Ta kenang pyoge kyun gu donga nge pyoge gyaba yina ya kuzu shenpa zu ku mare. Ani shenpa su nyu yuwe losal kar de shige losal ya kar nangba. Anything special? Did you do anything special?
파마니게 공세라니 그래 치료 칼라사 도스마자 뭐 상마정리
나절랭가 배.
그래
Yeah. So I think it's already now 6:07 and I think we should start. So first let's check the assignments. Remember last week I asked you to do an assignment. So anybody want to share about your assignment? What did you do? Okay, go ahead. Who wants to go first? We need at least 3 people. It's good you share because those who were not present during the last class, they would also learn. And in my class, I always encourage people to share how they apply, because from your sharing, others will also learn that, oh, that's how we are supposed to apply. That's how we are supposed to practice. So the whole point of having these classes is to take home something, isn't it? If you just listen here or you hear something else and then you go back, and if it doesn't really impact you in any way, then it's really a waste of your time and my time as well. So it's good. I encourage people to, all of you, to share your experience and insights. Okay, who wants to go first? Yeah, we need a brave person.
I can do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the homework was to think about situations where we can make a difference by modifying mental attitude. And today I had like a job interview that I was like very nervous for, but then I tried to rephrase it as like not like a threat, but instead it's like a challenge me to grow. So I tried to think about it in that way, and then it really helped to deal with the stress.
That's what we discuss about, because we discuss about, you know, all these problems. We think that it is outside there, and we always try to look for external fix. But sometimes it is not really external things. You just need to adopt a certain attitude. You need to alter your state of mind. And then, yeah, the problem is fixed. It's so easy, just a twitch, just a little bit of change. That's all it requires. So that's a very good example. So let's hear more. Thank you. Anybody? Hey, last week we have over 30 people, only one person experimented. Is it? No one? Okay. If we don't have any other brave person, then we will proceed with today's class. So let me share my screen.
How many does TC have?
TC has one apple.
Okay, so do you see my screen? Okay, very good. So let's recap what we talked last week for the sake of some new people, as well as those who are like me, who can easily forget. You need a reminder. So let's recap. What did we discuss? We talked about the purpose of religion, because we are studying Buddhism. We are talking about practicing Dharma. So what is this all about? Why is that? Why is it so important to study Dharma? Because we all want to achieve happiness. Whether you are kindergarten going student, whether you are in middle school, whether you are in high school, whether you are in college, we all want to be happy, isn't it? Nobody wants to experience misery or unhappiness. So through Buddhism, we can achieve lasting happiness. We can fulfill this aspiration. So in order to apply, in order to use all the methods, first we need to understand. We need to listen, we need to study. So that's why you are all here. And then we also discussed that external conditions cannot guarantee lasting happiness. Remember, we looked at some research, whether wealth, money, fame, status, whether these are the determinant of happiness. But from the research findings, we know that, of course, we need money to fulfill our basic needs. But once we are above that level, money does not make a difference. Sometimes money creates problem, brings about more suffering. So for that, what did we say? We say that happiness is a state of mind. Because happiness is a state of mind, it is not possible to gain it through fixing external conditions. So why is that? Because happiness must come from within. So now how do we achieve that? And we said that there are methods, two-pronged approach. Can somebody remind me, what is this two-pronged approach? What are the two prongs? Can anybody recall the two prongs? No? Never mind. Here. The first prong is either to really eliminate the mental states or emotions that give rise to unhappiness. If we cannot eliminate completely, then at least we should try to reduce or regulate those emotions that cause unhappiness, that destroys our peace of mind. On the other hand, we should also strive to enhance or to cultivate the positive qualities that give rise to happiness. Remember, we watched that movie clip. This guy, even though he's not very wealthy, he doesn't have that much money, but because he was able to adopt this mindset, kindness, caring for others, he was able to share what little he has or he had. And he was able to really help others. Through that, he gained so much happiness, which no amount of money could buy. So there are two ways to do that. One way is to just remove the mental states that is causing all that unhappiness, that dissatisfaction, that discomfort. For example, anger, hatred, jealousy, greed. Jealousy, for example, I think everybody can relate. If you are jealous of somebody in your school, what happens? The moment it arises within us, we become unhappy, our peace of mind gets destroyed. And sometimes if you try to sleep, but that kind of strong jealousy, you cannot even fall asleep. And here you are so jealous, because of this fire of jealousy, you cannot sleep, you are so agitated. But the other person whom you are jealous at is sleeping so soundly. So in that sense, it seems so ridiculous, doesn't it? Okay. So today we are going to talk about one of the prongs. Remember, one of the two prongs is to reduce or regulate destructive emotions. So there are many types of destructive emotions. One common thing that really, which everybody can relate to, is the anger. The moment anger arises within us, we are not happy. Do you agree?
Yes.
Is there anyone who is happy when you get angry? No, everybody.
Yes.
Yes, are you sure you are happy when you get angry?
No.
So anyway, so today's topic is about diffusing the anger bomb. Look at the picture. If you have a bomb somewhere, if you do not diffuse that, what will happen? It will explode. And then it will be so damaging. The ramification is unimaginable. It can destroy houses, cars. It can even cost life. It can even kill people. So anger is like a bomb inside us. So when we have that bomb ticking within us, it is always scary and dangerous. So we need to find a way to diffuse that bomb. So today we are going to look at some ways, some conventional means, as well as some Buddhist, the classical or the traditional method to diffuse. I will only use one or two because the others, I think, we can bring that slowly. At the moment, I think we will just use one or two strategies from the Buddhist texts. So first, let's watch this.
Ah, headshot. It wasn't dead.
Я, сука, не работаешь, тварь, блядь! Сейчас, сука, меня заебала, тварь ты ебаная, а! Сука.
I get really mad.
So are you familiar with this? We can all relate to this, isn't it? So what do you think? What they are doing? Do you think that it is a good thing? The actions are good? What do you think of this? Can anybody suggest? Can anybody comment?
I think it's bad.
Okay, why is it bad?
Because when you are angry, you should not harm or destruct other things that are around you.
Okay, so when you are angry, do you have control over this? Are they doing
Yes.
out of their willingness, or are they kind of they lost their control?
They lost their control.
Exactly, that's what happens when a strong anger arises. You cannot control. You don't know what you are doing. And when you watch it, others do. You can see the stupidity, the idioticness in there. Remember, one person, he threw his computer. So who is the one who get the loss? So he has to now buy a new computer. And did he help his frustration? No. Like the second guy, what did he do? He broke so many things. He broke the chair, he broke his monitor. And then the third person, same thing. They destroyed the computer. So that's what happens when we get angry. So now look at this, what the young people like you say.
I get really mad when my brother hits me a lot. I don't like it when you say you don't want to play with me.
When I'm mad, my brain can get a headache and it can start hurting.
Your blood keeps pumping because you're like really mad. And you start to get sweaty because you're getting really, really mad. And then when you start getting really mad, you turn red. When your body can't really control yourself, mad just takes over your body. I just get out of control. It's kind of like if you had a jar and then the jar would be your brain and then you put glitter in the jar and that would be how you would feel. If you shook up the jar and the glitter went everywhere, that would be how your mind looks. And it's like spinning around and then you don't have any time to think.
And you sometimes punch stuff and people when you don't really mean it.
When I get angry, I feel it in my heart. I really don't like when I get angry.
So this is what happens. I think you notice, I mean, those kids, they describes what happens when you get angry. And I like the one, that girl who explains, who give this analogy of the jar. when you shook the jar filled with that glitter or sand, whatever it is, it becomes muddy. You cannot see because all muddled up. So that's what happens when we are angry. So why I'm showing this is that first thing, it is so important to see the numerous forms of anger. Let me just get this out of my way. So we need to see the faults of anger. We need to see how damaging it is to get into anger, into the fit of anger. I will tell you my story. When I first joined monastery, I didn't know that I had anger issue. I get angry so easily. But when I was in school, I didn't know that. One day, when in monastery, we have to go to debate. So when I was debating with another monk, so there are other people who were watching the debate go. So I was debating with this monk, and then this monk, he really ridiculed me. He was the answer, and I am the one who is putting forth the question. So he ridiculed me, and because he ridiculed me, I got so angry, and I said all kinds of things. I retorted. It's because of my ego. It's like, I am a Rinpoche, and you are an ordinary monk. How dare you say these things to me? Driven by that ego, I retorted. And I said even nastier things to him. But you know, what was his response? He laughed and laughed. At that moment, I realized how shallow and how small. I felt so small. The normal response should be, he should be saying even nastier things back to me. But he laughed at me. So that night, I felt so embarrassed. I never felt so embarrassed, I think, other than that. So when I got home, I couldn't sleep. That incident kept playing in my mind. That was the first time I realized that I have anger issue. I must resolve that. Otherwise, it is too embarrassing. This will happen again, and I will be embarrassed. That's also for selfish reason. I don't want to be embarrassed in front of other people. So that night, I made the decision that I'm going to work on my anger. So since then, I think I made a little progress. So it is important to realize the disadvantages, the flaws, the faults of anger, hatred. When you see the faults, when you see the disadvantages of getting angry so quickly, then a thought will arise to curb that, to do something about it. But if we are oblivious if we are unaware of the negative consequences of anger, then we won't see it as something bad, something disadvantageous. So that's why I am showing those clips, because for us, it is difficult to see in ourselves the faults, but we can easily spot when it happens to another person. So here, in the text, it says, wrath disfigures your face and leads you to what is unwholesome. It robs your mind of the judgment of what is right and wrong. Intolerance is swift to throw you to the lower realms. So we don't talk about the lower realm and all this. It's just in this life, it says, wrath disfigures your face. Here, wrath refers to hatred and anger. Look at this guy, these guys. When they are angry, they don't look that nice. Especially if you have makeups. Why do we put makeups? To look pretty, to look nice. But when you get angry, no matter how well you have done your makeup, it will show. Your face will become red. And that pretty face, that handsome face will change into an ugly and scary one. So you don't want others to see in that light. That's what it says. Wrath disfigures your face and leads you to what is unwholesome. Then you tend to do things that you will regret later. I'm sure those people which we saw in the clip, they must have regretted after they have finally, eventually calmed down. They realized that what stupid thing they did. They have destroyed their own computer. Now that they have to spend money to get a new laptop or computer. So likewise, remember those young kids, when they say, when they're angry, I have no control. Sometimes I punch people, which I didn't mean to. That's what happens. And then it says, it robs your mind. Why this is happening is because it robs your mind of the judgment of what is right and wrong. At that moment, your mind is clouded. You cannot see clearly what is right or wrong. That's why in the spur of this anger, people kill themselves. People kill their parents. People kill their loved ones. But after the anger is over, they regret. But that's too late. You have already killed the other person. So anger is never good. So it is important for us to see that, to see the faults of intolerance, faults of being in the fit of anger. Only then we will look for ways to curb that, to regulate that. So what are the ways we can think of? So another fault is that there is a story. I think you have heard this before. So there was a son and a father, but that son, he gets angry so quickly. He loses his temper so often. In a day, it's like 10, 15 times. So the father wanted to show him that he has this issue. So the father called the son and asked him to what do you call, hammer a nail in the wooden piece every time he gets angry, every time when he loses his cool. So the boy followed. So days after day, yeah, he has been hammering a nail onto a piece of wood. And first days were like so many, and then slowly, he noticed that from doing that action, that activity, he realized that he loses his temper too many times, too frequently. So he tried to control himself. He tried to practice tolerance, patience. And then came a day where there was not even one occasion. So then father instructed him that every time when he was able to practice patience, go and remove the nail that he has hammered in. So he did that. And finally the day came that he was able to pull out all the nails. So he was very proud of that. And he very proudly declared to his father that I have finished, I have pulled out everything. Then father told him that now go back and have a look. What have you done with the plank, wooden plank? Then he saw that even though he pulled out all the nails, but it has left a mark. So the father said that that's what happens when you lose your anger, lose your temper. When you get angry, you will say nasty things. You will do unimaginable things. And even though no matter how many times you apologize, how strongly you feel the regret, but scar is already formed. You already left a scar there. So that's the downside of losing our temper. And you can relate. You know that when your parents lose their temper, how do they react? And when you lose your own temper, how do you react? And then there were times after that, we all regret. We all wish that we hadn't done that. So that's why anger and hatred is so dangerous, especially to harbor hatred is not healthy. It is so corrosive. It will kill you from inside. So it's always, if you have some hatred, harboring hatred against somebody, just let it go. Forgive the person. Forgiving the person will release you from that pain, that hurt. So, when do we get angry and hold hatred against somebody? We get angry when somebody causes harm to us. When somebody says unkind words to us. So we think that it is justifiable. But here it says it is inappropriate to become angry because it is pointless and will have grave consequences. It is pointless because whatever harm the person caused. You cannot reverse that by, let's say, taking a revenge, by getting angry at the person. If that can be reversed, of course, why not get angry? But no point, because whatever harm is done is done. Whatever pain you have experienced is already experienced. By getting angry, it cannot reverse. It cannot change. But on top of that, it has grave consequences. Remember the things that we just discussed above? And then especially if you hold grudge and if you plan to take revenge, you will get into more trouble. It will never be so simple. And from the stories that we hear, they say that even after getting the revenge, they are not happy. Instead, it will result into so many negative consequences. So it is not, it is inappropriate. So this is the Buddhist way of thinking. So when you get angry, you have to think this way. Is there a point? If I get angry at this person because he said nasty things to me, but my getting angry at this person, will the situation be reversed? No. But instead, if you are not angry at the person, if you are kind to that person, maybe that person can become your good friend. There is this chance. Whereas if you get angry and try to take revenge, that person will remain your enemy all the time. And then he may cause you more harm in the future. So that's how we should think. When we get angry at somebody, you should always go through this. Remember this. It is inappropriate to become angry at this boy, whoever his name is, Taishi, because it is pointless. Whatever he did to me will not be reversed, will not be changed. Whatever happened, happened. If I still get angry at him, who will this harm? I will be done, who will be harmed. So that's one way to think. Another way is, okay, let's listen to what kind of strategies they use.
The amygdala really reacts, but the prefrontal cortex tries to keep it down. When I feel like I want to, get really angry and yell, I just sometimes, take deep breath. First you find a place where you can be alone, then you find some way to relax and calm down. When I need to calm down, I take deep breaths. I breathe in through my nose. Sometimes I close my eyes or just take deep breaths. It's calming down, it's not moving. It's slowing down and then it stops. And the heart pumps slow and then it goes into your brain. It's like all the sparkles are at the bottom of your brain. My brain slows down and then I feel more calm and then I'm ready to speak to that person.
So what are some of the strategies they suggest? Can you recall?
Take deep breaths.
Okay, what else?
Close
Go
the
somewhere
eyes.
quiet.
Close your eyes, take a deep breath. What else?
Being
Go
alone.
somewhere quiet.
Being alone, and then come again. What was that one? The last one?
Go somewhere quiet.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Go somewhere quiet.
Oh, go somewhere quiet. Okay. Anything else? Okay, deep breath. Thank you. Take a deep breath. So first thing they suggest that, especially when you are having a discussion or having an exchange, when you notice that you are getting angry, when you see that anger is boiling inside, anger is arising. So one way is just walk away from the situation. Then, yeah, you can come back when you are calmer. That's one way. This is very easy to do, isn't it? The second one is take a deep breath. So deep breathing and brain has a very strong correlation, strong relationship. Because when we breathe, when we take a deep breath, it is sending a signal to our brain to say that you can rest now. I think those those of you who are in college, I think you know about this, the brain system, the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic nervous system is to prepare body for action. So when you see a dog running at you, so that when you see that, so the body sends a message to your brain, and then sympathetic nervous system triggers this flee or fight response. Whereas the parasympathetic nervous system is the one that calms our body. So when we take a deep breath, it sends a signal to the parasympathetic nervous system to say that you can now come in. Body needs to rest. That's why it is effective. Another reason why taking deep breath is effective is because when we take a deep breath, we are focusing on our breath. So when we focus our mind on the breath, we cannot focus on something else. For ordinary mind, we cannot focus on two objects at the same time. If we are thinking about our breath, we cannot think about something else that is causing us. Who is that doing all kind of doodling? So that's the second way, is to take a deep breath. And then another one is to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, count to 10, because that distracts your mind from whatever that is causing you angry. So when you shift your attention to the counting, then your body started to calm down. There is nothing to trigger that anger. And then very wise advice is think before you speak. Always think what I am saying. Because most of the time when we get angry, we don't think. We say or do things. Then we will regret later. So, in short, stop and take a breath, and then ask why. Why am I getting angry? because this guy said this guy did this. And then you use the earlier ones. Is it worth getting angry? Does it really solve the problem? And then another way is, what is the best way I could respond without being angry? Yeah, whatever he said to me was not nice. It is not fair. I should stand up to that person. But if I get angry, if I respond to him in an angry way, if I react in an angry way, I'm not going to achieve what I wanted. So it's always better to respond with a cool mind. So we have to think. So the above ones that I just mentioned were from the conventional side, just basically a common sense. So now from the Buddhist perspective, so you look at this, when you get angry at a person, so what ways we can kind of minimize that anger? How can we diffuse that one? Is through thinking in this way. Look at this picture. What do you think this guy is? He is a drunkard, isn't he? He's a drunkard. He drinks alcohol. So if this guy says something inappropriate to you, would you get angry? Would you be angry? Let's say the better example is, let's say somebody who is mentally retarded, cognitively impaired, who is insane or crazy or mad person. If a mad person does something inappropriate in front of you, would you get angry? Would you get angry?
Yes, but not really angry at them.
Yes, I would get angry.
Okay. You mean even knowing that this person is an insane person, mentally?
I would be angry at their actions, but not at them.
I would be angry.
Actually, I would feel ninja
Wow.
because
Yeah.
they're insane and they don't know what to do.
Exactly. Normally, yeah, when we don't know that the person is insane, we may get angry. But when we realize that he is insane person, he is mentally incapable of thinking, he has no control over what he is saying, then yeah, we no longer get angry because we know that he has no control over it. He is being controlled by his insanity. So let's say if you are walking in the street, and then somebody behind you bumps into you and spills a coffee on you, what would you do? You will be really angry, and you turn back, and then you realize that it's a blind person. The person who bumped into you was a blind one. Will you be still angry?
No.
Yeah,
No.
most people won't be angry. Why were you not angry? Because he is blind, he is helpless. He cannot help himself. So if that is the reason, then here is the same thing. The person who is angry at you, the person who causes harm to you, that person is also doesn't have what you call control over himself, because he is being controlled by his anger, because he got into a rage and then he does all kind of things. So when we get angry and when we say things, later when we apologize to that person, what would we normally start with? We said, oh, I'm so sorry, I was really angry. I didn't know that, I wasn't myself. I said it out of anger. It wasn't really me. we give that same excuse. So likewise, this is one way to think. When somebody says nasty things and anything that, you know, causes harm out of anger, then we have to think that, oh, a person is also under the influence of his afflictions, either out of anger, either out of attachment, either out of ignorance. So that's one way to think of. So these are so simple, these are common sense. Sometimes you feel that, hey, I'm in this Buddhism class, and Buddhism class is really basic and simple, you know, it's not really sophisticated, but it is not. Buddhism is never sophisticated. That's why many people call Buddhism a way of living. Buddhism is the only kind of religion, only religion per se, yeah, that can walk hand in hand with science. Buddhism is never afraid of scientists scrutinizing its views and principles, because it is based on logic, based on common sense. So Buddhism is very simple. It's just way of living. So there are parts which can become a bit philosophical, but generally it is very simple. So that's why, remember in the first class, I said that Buddhism is all about changing the mental state, altering our attitude. It is about taming our mind. It is all about bringing transformation. The anger, hatred, jealousy, greed, attachment, ignorance, all this we need to transform into the positive ones. That's the essence of Buddhism. So you see, on this is from the Buddhist thoughts. It's very, very simple, very based on common sense. And then look at this. Sometimes when we get angry, we blame the other person. We get angry at the other person because to us, he is the cause of all this. But when you really think carefully, because anger arises as a result of a combination of three causes and conditions. So first is what is called mental dispositions. We are accustomed, we are habituated in anger. So that's why we have the seed. When we encounter any action that triggers, our anger arises because we have the seed. It is like the seed. If it's a burn seed, then no matter how diligently you water, nothing will sprout. But there is a potential there, then yeah, the seed will bear some fruit, it will sprout. So likewise, if we don't have that mental disposition, the other person cannot make us angry. We normally say that, oh, you know, he made me angry. He destroyed my peace of mind. He spoiled my day. But actually, it's not really the person, everything to be blamed on that person. You also play a role. So you need, and then third one is the wrong perception. Sometimes we get angry because we misunderstood the situation. Sometimes the person is trying to help you, but somehow we misunderstood as person is causing us harm. I think you can relate with from your own experience. We make so many mistakes. We say, oh, I thought that he is circulating all this misinformation about me, but then you realize that no, he was not. And let's say somewhere in your school, when you go to the cafeteria or somewhere and this group of people, they were sitting there together and you are not invited. and you made the assumption that, oh, they didn't want me to include in their group, oh, I hate them, I don't like them, but later you realize that they are from this, I don't know, the music group or something, and they were having a discussion. We always make quick judgment. We always make quick assumptions. So we get wrong all the time. So these are required for our anger to arise. So in that sense, when you get angry, so you see that person, 100% that, what do you call it? You see that person to blame. He is 100% responsible for my anger. But actually it is not. You are part of it. So when we think that way, automatically our anger subsides. If it's not completely subsides, but at least the, the intensity reduces. So that's one way to think about. And this is my favorite one. If I become angry with the wilder, although I'm actually harmed by his stick, then since he too is secondary, being in turn incited by hatred, I should be angry with his hatred instead. So this one, it says that when somebody hits us, why do we get angry? Because we would say that, oh, because he caused me that pain. But then when you analyze that, what is the one that really caused the pain? Is it the person or is it the stick? But the one causing the pain directly is actually the stick. So when somebody says that, oh, in that case, your reason for getting angry at the person is because of causing pain, then they says that, oh, then you should get angry at the stick, not at the person, because the direct cause of pain is the stick. And what would you say? You would say, oh, no, the stick doesn't work of its own. You need a wielder. Somebody has to wield it and hit it. So even though stick is the one that directly causes the pain, but the guy who wields that is responsible. So in that case, it says that in that case, that guy is also propelled by his anger, incited by his anger or hatred, whatever it is. So if you really want to get angry, then you should be angry at his anger, not the person. So that's why we hear this phrase: hate the sin, not the sinner. Okay? Okay, I think it's already 7 now, so there's a second part. I think we will leave that to for the next class. Or shall we continue? I don't know, it's already 7. Are you tired? You want to go on or you want to stop here?
Go on.
Stop.
Go on.
Go on?
Mama,
Okay.
go on.
Okay. Wow.
Go on.
Okay, good. Let's go then. So the second part is about resilience. So you know what resilience means, yeah? So resilience means when we encounter difficulties, instead of remaining, when we are hit by somebody, instead of remaining lying on the floor, we bounce back, we get back. So that's resilience. The more resilient you are, the better you can cope with challenges and difficulties. So why I bring this here is because sometimes the reason why we get angry, one is at the person who causes harms and who are unkind to us. That's when one reason we get angry. Another reason is when we are faced with difficulties, when our situation is not as good as we expected, when we face difficulties, when we face challenges, then we get irritated, we get disappointed, we get angry. So that's why we need to develop this resilience, able to bounce back, able to cope, able to face difficulties. So why do we need to accept difficulties? First of all, we called our existence korwa or samsara. So samsara is not a perfect world. It is imperfect world. So we are bound to experience all kinds of problems and difficulties. We are bound to go, our journey will be there will be ups and downs in our life. So we need to find a way to accept these difficulties. So the problem is, if we don't do that, then the original problem will remain there. Instead, it will magnify. For let's say if you are down with a fever, so physical pain, you are having a bad headache. But if you worry and worry about that, what will happen? Not only you will have physical pain, but you mentally, you will experience mental pain as well. You will be unhappy. Your peace of mind is affected. And on top of that, we will suffer mental misery. Whereas if we are able to accept, and then if we find a way to cope with it, then even if the original problem may not be solved, but at least it won't magnify, and then of course, it will not create more or additional mental suffering. So it is important, because when you are in school, you are bound to face all kinds of challenges. So one very easy way to solve is this one. This one you should memorize. And then when you have difficulty, when you come across difficulty, you should recite this. Why be unhappy about something if it can be remedied? So you can change this word to anything. Why worry about something if it cannot be remedied? Why feel sad about something if it can be remedied? And what is the use of being unhappy about something? So you memorize this, and then whenever you encounter difficulties, then think about this. When I lost my father died due to cancer. I was very close with my father. But when he died, it was very difficult. But this helped me. When I think on this, when I use this, because my father is gone, my feeling sad won't bring him back. And there's nothing I can do about it. So if I feel sad and unhappy, not only it will affect me negatively, but it will also affect people around me. It will make others worried, others unhappy. So this is a very, very effective one. So it goes like this. If you encounter a problem, first you ask the question, can I do something about it? Let's say if you are asked to give a talk, a speech. So of course, if you don't like public speaking, so you will be like so stressed. You will be so worried. So you ask, can I do something about it? If you find that you can do about it, then yeah. Then why get stressed about? So this is about anger. So when you come across a situation where you get so angry and agitated, first you ask yourself, can I do something about this? Is there anything I can change the situation? If the answer is yes, then you tell yourself, then why am I getting angry? Then why am I getting worked up? Same situation, you ask the same question, but if you feel that there's nothing you can do about it, then what is the point of getting upset? Like in the example earlier, if you can do something about it, of course you can do something about it. You can prepare your speech. You can practice. So in that case, you can do something about it. But there is something else that you cannot do about it. Then you tell yourself that since there's nothing I can do, what is the point? So like when you grow up, I think it is okay to mention here, you will have boyfriends and girlfriends, and then there will be so many problems. So when such difficulties, when you encounter such situations, don't forget to use this logic. Is there anything I can do about this relationship? Can I repair this? If you think so, then try. Whatever means, try to repair the relationship. If you cannot, then tell yourself, okay, I tried everything, it didn't work out, so why am I getting so sad about this? So this is very effective. So this, I suggest you memorize this and then use all the time. So another is why we should develop resilience. I mean, the way to develop resilience is finding joy and meaning. So I'm going to give somebody an opportunity to read this. Let's see how well you can read Tibetan. Any volunteers?
Me.
Go ahead.
Kepalope tunadu. Dewa de la ke misi. Dewa chung la chakpa te. Chinpyo dewa top misi.
Wow, well done, well done. Very good. So what does this mean? This means that Kepalope tunadux, when you are striving to become a scholar, and if you just remain, if you become attached to these small joys, and if you just enjoy your life and you fail to put effort, then it says you will never become a scholar. So like this picture, if you want to graduate from a college with, I don't know, master's degree or something, you have to put in effort. You have to work for it. So when you put work in it, then there is, so if you put effort, then you will get the big prize or reward. Whereas if you just remain attached to these tiny pleasures and all this, then you will never achieve or gain that greater pleasure or the scholarly achievement. So when we find difficulty, especially when you are studying, when you find putting effort in study is too much, when you feel like, oh, I'm going to give up. So think of the fruit. When you finish putting effort, what can you achieve? You can become, I don't know if you want to achieve doctors, you can become doctors, nurses, engineers, and all that. So with that, of course, you can probably have a better life. So it is to find joy in your study. So remember, we talked about the stress. Stress, whether it becomes a good stress or bad stress, depends on how you interpret the situation, how you look at the situation. Remember what Ngawang shared before? For the interview, instead of, oh, I'm so afraid, I'm scared, all this, instead, she took it as, look at it as an opportunity, as a challenge. And that has helped. So that's one way to do, finding joy. And then when you, I think the common thing is, you get angry all the time at your parents because your parents tells you to do this and this, that. So you get worked up, you get angry. But if you are able to think in a positive way, oh, my parents are saying this because they care for me. They are helping me from wasting my time. If I glue to the video game too much, first of all, it will affect my eyesight. Secondly, I'm wasting too much time. I should be focusing on my studies so that I can have a better future. So if you are able to view your parents' scrutiny or the disciplining as a way of their care and love, and of course, parents do this for your purpose, for the good of your, putting your interests at heart. If you stop playing video game, the parents don't gain anything. If you study hard, parents do not get the, the credit. If you score, I don't know, the distinction or anything, honors or anything, so you will be proud of it. You will be praised. You will be honored, but not the parents. So when we are able to think that way, then you don't feel that stress. You don't feel your parents saying as scolding. You will see as love and care. So if we are able to do that, that is what we talked last class. It's about changing the attitude. If we are able to adopt a positive attitude in our life, then things will be better. You will be happier. So in short, when you encounter difficulty, we have to find a way to transform into a positive one. Remember, we have a saying, when life gives you lemons, what should we do? Make lemonade. Even though lemon is sour, but if you make lemonade, it's nice. So when you encounter difficulty and challenges, look at them as opportunities. Don't look at them as obstacles. So it's about transforming obstacles into opportunities. So that's about today's class. So before I give you the assignment, do you have any questions or any comments?
No.
No? Not
No.
not even comments?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, then here is your assignment for this week. Choose one of the diffusing methods when occasion arises. So we remember we discussed several methods. So from out of those methods, you can choose one or two. It's up to you. And then I think during this coming week, there will be occasions of anger, occasions of you getting angry at something, either at your parents or your classmates or your friends or your teacher or something else. Maybe you're losing the video game or something else. So when that happens, use one of these methods and then test. Be a researcher, be a scientist, experiments whether it works or not. And then upon experimenting, when we meet again next Wednesday, share your experience with the class, with me. Okay?
Everybody
clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, good night then. Thank you.
Thank you, Gela. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.